Okay, well, hi everyone, and thank you very much for watching or listening. It's Liam Hartree here today, back with you with another exciting episode of the Presenting Champions podcast for Simply Inspired. And today I'm joined by a very, very special guest. I'm joined by bare knuckle pit fighter Bob Wilson, who is also a boxer as well and ex-military, has a background in boxing before moving into the world of pit fighting. Recently made his debut in that arena, the smallest combat sports arena anywhere, the roughest, the toughest, very unique. Has another fight coming up in March the 2nd. At the time of this
Yeah,
recording, it's December time, so we're going to be talking about that fight coming up in a couple of months' time as well. So there's a lot of exciting things going on, but as always for our viewers, it's not just talking about fighting today. Bob has an incredible story of the things he's overcome in his life to get where he is today, and the things that have really shaped and molded him into the person he is today. So, as always, there'll be some life lessons, some tips that you, the viewers and listeners, can take away and hopefully put into practice in your own lives. So, thank you for listening, everyone. And, mate, thank you for coming on the show and basically agreeing to do this. I mean, it's awesome to be talking with you. So, thank you.
yeah. Thank you for the opportunity.
No worries at all, mate. No worries at all. So, pretty simple stuff. I mean, you kindly sent me a lot of stuff about your life. Like I said at the beginning, really appreciate that. So, getting into it from the beginning, let's go back in time. Let's talk about where you grew up, how you grew up, where that first interest in boxing started as well, and just give people a little bit of background for your early life, please, mate. Let's start there.
Yeah, I got into boxing about 10 years old. I grew up from a village called Chickenley in Dewsbury, and it's quite a rough council estate, really. But I think I got into boxing just to try and gain my dad's attention because I didn't really have a father kind of figure. Do you know what I mean? So he was always in and out of prison or like never there and stuff like that. So uh, I got into a gym called Sultan's in Dewsbury where I trained, and then someone came up to me and they said, "You're really good. You need to go to Hunslet where they develop you." But it was quite far. It was 15, 20 miles away from Dewsbury was Hunslet, and I was only a little kid. I had no way to get there, so I just used to go on my bike. Just used to go on my bike, yeah. And that's where my love of boxing started.
Okay, that was the beginning of the journey. Now, I'll come back to cycling there in just a minute now as well. But before I do, when you sent me the things about your life, you mentioned that your dad was interested in boxing. So is that sort of watching the sport and that, or did he used to do a bit of boxing as
Yeah,
well?
I used to get on his nerves a bit. I used to sneak into the dining room. We were always watching videos, Nigel Benn, Fat Bruno, and even all the videos like that. And I used to always I just used to get on his nerves, like try to sit on his knee and watch it with him and video like that. But yeah, I could see how passionate he was about it, and that got me really interested in it.
Yeah, fair enough. So that was the early inspiration. Okay. Now, when it comes to what you said just now about cycling all this way and everything like that, I mean, that is some serious dedication. So I got to say, fair play to you on that. And I got to ask as well, how did you manage to train after already, because it's like already doing a session, and it just to get to the gym, and never mind then the training as well. So can you talk to us a little bit about that side of
Yeah,
things?
it really had to be honest, because obviously I had school first as well, so it was straight after school. But when I got there, I was tired. I wasn't giving it 100% when I got there, so it never really clicked on from that stage. But I kept at it and I kept at it, and I remember first time biking it. I didn't do no sat navs on internet back then, so I had to find my own way, and I was following bus stops, and it took me about 3 hours to get there first time because I didn't know my way. But eventually, I knew my way, and it got to like 45 minutes an hour bike ride and stuff like that. But,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
amazing.
I had to follow the bus stops to get there, which is a long way anyway. But
Oh, that is amazing. Fair play to you. I mean, like I said, it's serious dedication, and as well as that, I mean, kids today, they don't know the struggle of this type of thing, do they? I mean, in terms of, when you really have to find your way somewhere, these simple things people take for granted now. But anyway, so in terms of your development with boxing and everything like that, and going from sort of enjoying it, obviously putting that discipline in to get there. Can you share with us like a few steps forward from that? Because obviously you were involved in boxing a few years, you went a bit deeper into it. You were in the gym with some good guys by the sound of it as well. So a little bit
Yeah,
more about that would
I
be.
started gym quite early, just to pump some iron, just to try stand out more. Just to try be bigger and the other people my age and stuff. I don't think that did me any good, to be honest with you. I think it was too early to start doing all that. But yeah, that's how I started doing gym. And then I went into army at 16, and that's when I started doing a bit of boxing in there as well.
Yeah, now that's another big topic to talk about is the army as well. 16, I mean, it's obviously a young age. I know a lot of fellas who've gone in at that young age as well. Before we get into the army itself, talking about the inspiration, was it something you always wanted to do, or was it more of like a snap decision or something that came up at that time type of thing?
Well, I started going down one path, but I started being a bit of a cocky lad, to be honest with you, because I had the size at that young age, and I just started showing off a bit and knocking about with one people, if you like, and going down that one path, and I just thought I can't carry on like that. I'm gonna do something good, and I put my energy into army then, and I've always liked army films and stuff like that, and doing that, so I thought it's a good idea to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's cool. I mean, and fair play to you as well for getting yourself out of that
Yeah.
environment, because it's a big decision to make, especially when it's all you've known type of thing, and you've got to leave that behind. And you were doing a bit of weightlifting around this time, weren't you? I think you also mentioned you were sort of getting more into the gym. Was that around the same sort of time?
Yeah, well, I started weightlifting about 12 years old, 12, 13 years old. But yeah, I carried on with it
Yeah.
until my older age, yeah.
That's fair enough. I'm just curious because you obviously had that mental toughness from quite a young age as well. That's where I'm going with it, to doing the boxing and weightlifting, traveling to the gym, all these types of things. So, okay, yeah, joining the army itself, talk to us a little bit about how you adapted into army life. Was it an easy transition for you? Was it something you had to get used to? A few things, did you love it? Let's talk a little bit about those early days joining up with
Uh,
them.
no, it wasn't. I didn't adapt to it easy. It were a massive shock to system, to be honest with you. But eventually I got there. Yeah, it was just tough. It was the first time I give myself discipline, but it was the first time someone else gave me discipline, and I didn't know how to take that really. So, but I got used to that, and it made me the man I am today. So that's definitely. But I also do think I went in a bit too early. 16. Maybe if I went in a bit older, I would have carried on.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that from a few people actually, in
I
talks like
didn't.
this.
I didn't get a
Yeah,
chance to carry on, and I ended up breaking my leg. I had a motorbike accident, and it was a really bad break, so I ended up coming out then.
yeah. And how long were you in there, all in all?
A couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, it's a couple of years. Yeah, well, fair play. I mean, still, it's a big decision to make, and it's something cool to be involved with. And as you say, you've obviously taken away some positives from it with the discipline and all of these type of things. So yeah, so okay, breaking your leg, and oh, I just before we move past the army, actually, just so I don't forget, boxing in the army as well. You did a little bit of boxing in there. Obviously, a lot of people will relate to this who have been in and they have served, but anyone who hasn't been in there and they don't know exactly how army boxing sort of runs and that type of thing. I like to give that a quick mention as well because you continued with your passion while
But
you were
yeah,
in
you
there.
can in the army. If you get into sports, they actually give you a really good opportunity to do that full time in the army. And if you really value it, yeah, they'll just let you do that as a full time job in the army. And it's a really good opportunity actually.
Yeah, that's very cool. So living your passion in it. Okay. Now, the thing here with the whole leg break thing, bear in mind, as I said to you before, everything we talk about here is always about like how you came back from stuff, how you recover from things. Basically, the inspiration of what you can do, other people can do as well. And with something like that, being taken out of the army, obviously being taken out of boxing, I guess as well with all this type of thing. I'd like to talk about not just the physical injury, but the mental side of it as well, if you get what I mean, in terms of what your expectations were from your life because it caused a big change in your life, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
let's talk about immediately after the accident, how you were feeling, how you were recovering, how long it took you to recover, that type of thing, please.
Um, it it took me quite a few months to recover from that like leg break actually. But mentally, it didn't really hit me mentally. Because when I left the army, I carried on with that same mentality, and I started doing really well at my new job, thriving in that job. And then I started a family, and I went from there. That's when
Yeah.
things started.
Okay, okay, cool. So okay, so starting a family. I remember, yeah, I remember you saying about this with with everything that you sent over and everything like that. And at that time in your life, everything from the sound of it was going really well and you were sort of enjoying the family life. Now, obviously, with this next bit as well, it's not going to be the easiest thing to talk about in the world. And I'm
Yeah,
just because with the split up and everything that happened like that, and it's not. I mean, like I said to you at the beginning, no matter how many of these I do, I always have massive respect for people sharing their personal stuff. It takes as much balls to do this for a lot of people as it does to like get in a pit or do something crazy like that, you know. So fair play to you talking about all of it. But yeah, I mean, obviously that time you were working in management. Is that right? You were working in like a
yeah,
management role.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a technical operator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when the split happened, I got stopped access to my daughters, and I've never. Um, it took me down a very dark path. I started being heavily. I quit my job, and I just spent all my money on drink and stuff like that, and it took me into my darkest days, definitely. Ended up being homeless and sectioned, and I remember just going to an house party, just not for buzz on the party, just to get a bit of shelter. And I didn't tell them that I was just going with it, you know. Um, and ex professional boxer Gary Sykes as well. He became very good mates with me. But when he retired, he was going down the same path as me. But we ended up being best mates. But the friendship was toxic because as down we were both going down as downfall part, you know.
Yeah.
Um, we both climbed out of that now, so it's all good.
Well, it's good that you had you know, you had the friendship with him, and I'm glad we got to give that a mention as well. So big shout out to him as well, to Gary.
Very
Um,
excited.
with that time itself, I was just thinking it's true because as I've already said, it's not the easiest thing to talk about. But just touching on this, um, so you were basically drinking and doing drugs and stuff like every day, or did it start off as like now and again, then it got like more and more frequent type of thing?
I just rapidly went downhill
Mm.
very quickly. It was to block the pain of not seeing my daughters, and there was a few other personal stuff as well. And it wasn't to get like do partying or stuff like that. It was just basically a mental block, just to block me not seeing my daughters and stuff like that. But that I met a woman who she saw the real me, and she brought me out, and that she's been my rock really. We've got a 1 year old now. He's nearly two, and it's just been good from there. And that's when I got back into boxing now and started with Spartan.
Absolutely. Well, things definitely came on the app with that 100%. And we'll talk a lot more about that now. Before we do, a couple of other things there that I'd like to mention, just because I think they will sort of help people and that type of thing. When you met this lady that you're with now, as you say, you know, she saw the real you and that type of thing. I think it would be really good to touch on that a little bit and explain a little bit more about that because the reason for this is because a lot of people are in that situation and they don't
Don't
necessarily
get
think
that.
that they
Like, they
can open up.
don't get that looking bit either, do they? So they still carry on going down that
Yeah,
path. Maybe end up in
exactly.
prison or dead or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it.
but yeah, I met. Funny enough, she's not a drinker, nothing like that, and I think she only a birthday party or an do or something like that, and I was in the bar, and that's when we first met, got talking and stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
she's been a bit of a share to me, to be honest with you. I don't think I'd be in here these shoes now if it weren't for her. So
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at. I mean, it's an amazing thing, and it's like I was saying, a lot of people, when they're in that situation as well. I think as men, we do struggle to sort of show our emotions and deal with these type of things as well. So, the fact you were able to do that with her and everything, it's really good. I think a lot of people will relate to that. And the other thing I just wanted to touch on very briefly because it shows how far you've come in your life. That's my only reason with the whole homeless thing, were you sort of like couch surfing type of thing, moving from place to place, or were you
yeah,
literally
couch
always?
surfing. Yeah, just couch surfing on the streets sometimes. I didn't really feel anything. My mind was numb, so it was just like I was a zombie. I was just doing each day by day without purpose. Yeah, very very horrible days.
Yeah. Well, we'll move past all that, but thank you because, mentioning that, as I've already said before, it shows people what one man can do, another man can do. People can come back from
Yeah,
that. Which is my final question about it. People listening to this who are going through that type of thing now, or they know someone who is, what would you say to those people in terms of some advice that you'd like to maybe give them if they're listening to this, that type of thing?
just to try speak out, be loud, um, speak to everybody. Don't be on yourself. Don't be on your own. Um, just seek help because there's help out there now. It's getting more highlighted this day and age now. So there's a lot of help out there.
Yeah, a lot more understanding, I would say as well these days. A lot more people know what you're actually talking about and everything. So okay, so then from this point in time, obviously, you cleaned up your situation with stopping the drinking and all of this type of thing, and you got back into boxing. I'm guessing in the beginning that was initially just to sort of have something to focus on, or did you have
Yeah,
expectations?
it was something to keep focused on and have a target. Have a target. I mean, I followed bare knuckle boxing for a few years now, and I've always wanted to go on Spartan. I nearly appeared last year, but I had a mini stroke. I think that everything what caught up to me. I think, and it just ended up being paralysed on my arm for 3 months. But got back training each day, and I got stronger. And I got a lucky break last week because someone pulled out and then I jumped in for him. So probably against one of the best fighters there. So didn't do myself no harm with it.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's an amazing story. I'll come to that now in just a minute. But the other thing, with the stroke thing as well, yeah, I've been wanting to ask you about this as well. Again, not so much from what happened, but the fact you bounced back from that is amazing. So you had to learn to use what part of your body again, or how did it work with that?
I was paralysed from elbow to my hand to my fingertips for 3 months. Um, but I think I've still lost a lot of power from that, but I'm getting better and better as time goes on.
Yeah, that is amazing. And did you have feeling there now, or is it like sort of numbed out?
It's completely fine now. Sometimes it gets a bit tingly, but no, that's absolutely fine now. I'm all signed off by doctors. It's all healthy now and stuff like that, so it's all good.
Well, fair play.
Just gotta keep positive and focused, haven't you? So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I know it's tough in the ring and it's tough in the pit, but some of your toughest fights have been outside of any of that type of thing. So yeah, I mean, talking about the pit itself, yeah, you jumped in there, as I understand it, pretty much short notice, no support, no. Am I correct in saying no corner, nothing?
I literally I got my bag after work. I just went straight there on my own. No cornermen, no friends, no family. And then I just said I'm here and I'm ready. And he gave me a shot to Christian. So
Wow.
which is I want to have a big shout out to Christian actually because he's doing an amazing job at Spartan. He's on his last legs himself, his health conditions and stuff like that. But he's still putting the fighters first. He's still putting the fans first, and he'll do out to anybody.
Yeah. He's an amazing guy. I mean, he saved a lot of lives with the work he's doing. That's what I always say.
I think he has probably saved a lot of lives doing this show as well.
That's what I mean. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, because there's so many guys I've spoken to, like on the show, with Spartan with like the addictions and mental health and
yeah,
prison and guys who've tried to kill themselves and everything
yeah,
like that. And a lot of them will say they're only still here, because of the opportunities given them. So it's an amazing legacy that he's leaving, with what he's doing. But yeah, talk to us about the fight itself, mate, because you were in there, not just with any fighter, but with one of the best on that promotion as
Oh yeah,
well.
one of the seconds there. Yeah. Well, he had a good chat with me before I went. I don't expect you to take this fight, especially on an hour's notice, because originally I was going to fight someone else, but he didn't show. Um, I don't know due to some reason. I don't know reasons, but yeah, I had a long conversation with him. If you fancy against him, then go for it. I know you've come for a fight. I know that's what you want. So and yeah, I took it. I could have done better, and but I didn't do a bad performance, to be fair. I'm being a bit too hard on myself, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the
Yeah, I'm going
thing.
to be strong. I'm going to be stronger for my next fight on March 2nd as well. So
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that as well. But one of the things I want to touch on with this as well is the fight itself a bit more because obviously coming from the boxing background and things like that, something like the pit is different because it's a lot smaller and the punches come a lot faster, don't they? As well, that's another thing. So, how fast is it when you're actually in there? It looks like lightning speed.
it's it's unreal. It's unreal, and the adrenaline before you go there as well. It's just on a different level. When I was boxing, I used to take my time going to it. I used to have it calm. I used to have it under control. And when they were shouting my name out, I basically sprinted to it. Like and that's not me. That's our character. It was just the adrenaline. It just made me just sprint there straight away. I don't even think my song came on. I think I was there before my song came on. So and yeah, it's all this tight space. It's 8 foot by 8 foot, and when you're in there, it's actually bigger than what you actually think. So you can move around a little bit, but like it says, it's totally different to boxing. It's more of a punch up. It's more of a punch up than a boxing match.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing is it's totally raw and it's totally all of the sort of the finesse and things is taken out and it's just like a pure fight, and everything,
Yeah,
which is obviously super exciting. Like I said at the beginning, just raw and just real and everything.
yeah,
So that was that fight. Okay, I mean, I think it's an amazing achievement being in there with him with with the belt and with like what he's achieved so
yeah.
far. Obviously, he's an ex-army lad as well, isn't he? So I guess.
Sorry about that.
No worries. No, but he's an ex-army lad as well, isn't he? So I think you guys have that in common as well. So okay, so that's that one. March 2nd. Let's talk a little bit about that because you've got a big one coming up now. How are you feeling on the build up to it and everything like that? How's your camp going and how's everything going on the build up to that one?
Well, yeah, I'm going to start camp on 1st of January, and I'm going to go into this one with and hopefully have a better outcome. Yeah, but it looks a tough guy up against. I think he's from Liverpool. I'm not too sure. I don't know too much about him. I think he's a Liverpool lad, and I'm looking forward to it. Definitely. It's gonna be fast and epic.
Absolutely. And obviously, if people want to get in touch with you for tickets and all that type of thing, they get in touch with you on Facebook, message you. Is that sort of the best way
100%,
to
yeah,
do it?
100%, yeah. Tickets are available straight away now, and I'll be advertising all that as the weeks come on and stuff like that. So yeah, more supporters than better.
Absolutely, yeah. And obviously, given the fact you've just started with all this, in terms of like sponsors and everything like that, are there people on board yet? Are you looking to get people on board with sponsorship? What's the deal with any businesses that want to help you
Yeah,
out with that?
I've got a few people in line for few sponsors, and hopefully that'll come good. And yeah, big
Okay,
things
well,
at the start, I think.
yeah, absolutely. Well, we need to give the sponsors a quick mention because I always like to do that in these talks. So give them a shout out for us, please, mate, as well.
yeah, massive shout out to them. Yeah, they're doing a fantastic job. And 2024 is getting rid of all the time wasters. You don't get a lot of time wasters. So say they want to fight, and then on the day they don't fight, and they've kept the ticket monies and stuff like that. So Christian takes a big loss, and he pays out of his own back pocket then to keep the show alive. So he deserves everything. All of them are going to get cancelled out 2024. He's just going to stick to fighters he knows, and he knows will turn up and stuff like that. So it's going to go to the next level, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, as a promotion, I mean, it's amazing because it's been growing and getting bigger and better and everything every single show, and the quality of the fights, and obviously, yeah, the venue that he's got now as well. All of these things are getting better and better, and I mean, I love the guy, Christian. He's got such a passion for what he does. And I speak to him all the time. I've done about, I don't even know, maybe like 5 interviews with him or something like this because he's always developing new things, and it's absolutely amazing. So shout out to everybody at Spartan, all the fighters, the team behind the scenes, all deserve massive respect. Now, as well as that, is there anyone else you'd like to thank? Anyone else that we've missed? Anyone you train with, spar with? Anyone who's contributed to your journey, with your family or any other people that we've missed, or have we covered everybody?
I think we've covered everyone apart from the people who actually got me in touch with Christian himself, and that's Nathan Dixon and Callum Sadler and Danny Ward. They've helped me come to Spartan, and they deserve a thank you as well.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah, top fellas, top fighters, and everything. Got massive respect for those guys. Well, it's been a good talk today, mate. I mean, I think we've covered everything that you sent over. As far as I can remember, I don't feel 100% sharp today, but I think we've covered everything. And what I'll say to you, and I do say this to people now and again, is down the road we'll do another one of these. A few more fights down the line and everything like that. We'll give it sort of maybe March a second, maybe one more after that type of thing, and then around that sort of time will be a good time to catch back up, and you'll have some more stories to tell. But for now, obviously, this gets the story out there. Does a couple of things. Obviously, it gets more exposure for you, first of all. So I hope it helps you to get your name out there and everything. Obviously, it inspires people as well because some of what you've bounced back from is amazing. So, when I get the messages from these saying that it inspires people not to give up and all that type of thing, it's
Yeah,
an amazing
there's
feeling.
always a light at the end of the tunnel, even
Yeah.
how big the tunnel is. There's always a light at the end of it, definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, mate, because that's why I do these. That's the reason. So amazing. I'd like to thank you very much for your time and just thank you for coming on here and talking about your life because, like I said earlier, it's a very brave thing to do. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.